How's it going, traders? It is Will Trader Society. Within this video, we're going to be doing a stock market price action analysis. Everyone was saying a Santa rally was coming, small caps are going to skyrocket. Well, here we are, and SPY is currently getting crushed, and we are on track to see a very, very nice pullback, in my opinion, to $472 into later next week. So I'm currently up 42% on my new position. I ended up buying some put options on SPY. I gave you guys the plan for that in yesterday's video. Go back and watch that. And with that being said, I'm going to explain to you on why I'm expecting SPY to crash into next week. Futures are currently down as well. And I'm also going to share with you one stock that I'm planning to buy the dip on tomorrow. So the plan is to dip buy this, look for the pullback at market open, buy the call options, ride this up into next week. The call options are expected to explode into next week. This is going to be a very explosive play I'm going to share with you towards the end of this video. So guys, let's get right into this video. It's going to be a phenomenal lesson. Make sure you stay to the end and smash that like button for me. So as you can see right here, these are the SPY puts that I ended up buying. I went with the 477 strike. These were slightly out of the money. I bought these in terms of timestamp. I sent out the real-time alert within Trader Society within the private chat at 10:39 a.m. The swing trade idea was to buy the SPY puts. I got in at $2.40. The strike was 477. SPY was trading at 478.50 when I bought the puts, so they were $1.50 out of the money. I believe the high end day on SPY was 478.99, so nearly towards the top. The max risk is all-time highs, very, very little risk, and the price target's 472 for next week, right? So with that being said, in terms of the current position, the low of day on these puts are at $2.33. As you could see, I ended up buying them for an average cost of $2.42. That's the current average on those. I have 50 contracts. I'm currently up 42% on those. So with that being said, I'm going to explain to you how I'm planning to make a little bit over 100% profit return on these. Let me walk you through the chart of SPY. So here's where I think we're at, guys. And this was all explained in my video lesson yesterday. I walked you guys through this entire trade, but let me walk you through in terms of where it is that I think we're at. There's this pattern. So I'm going to show you this pattern on the daily chart, and I strongly believe this pattern is repeating itself. This is really going to teach you how patterns work. This is really going to teach you how price action works. So listen up to this. It's very important. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in time. So we're going to use our time machine. We're going to go back in time and we're going to study this pattern, right? I'm going to disable extended hours just so you can visually see this pattern in these gaps in terms of what it is that I'm talking about, right? So this is a very short-term pattern that recently occurred, and this is what it is that I'm talking about. And here's where I think we're at with SPY. So right here, if you go back to December 6th of 2021, SPY had a gap up, and then you could see again, it had another gap up. So it had two gap ups, and then ever since it had that big move, it went from 449 all the way to new all-time highs at 470. What did it do once it had that big move when it gapped up twice? It started getting choppy, and it formed what I call a micro price channel. So a micro price channel, this is like a smaller price channel. And basically, if SPY breaks out above this level and turns this into a support level, they take control for the macro, which is the overall price, direction on where it's going to be continuously heading in terms of swing trading, right? So the stock is kind of, the ETF, so it's kind of just trapped inside this channel, bouncing back and forth, right? So if SPY is consistently failing to break out and it keeps faking out, keeps faking out, keeps faking out, keeps faking out, keeps faking out for multiple days, like it did in this case scenario, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 days of consistent failed breakouts, right? And it failed to turn into support every time it had a small little breakout. If it keeps doing that towards new all-time highs, what's going to happen is it is going to try to crack this support level. And once this support level cracks, the bears take control of the macro side of the move. And what it's going to start to do is it is going to start to fill the gaps. See how there's a gap to fill right here, and SPY gaps down, it nearly fills the gap, right? You guys remember that trade where I bought the puts right here, playing for the gap close reversal, and then I covered right there before it rocketed again. You guys remember that one. And with that being said, you could see even further in time, it goes all the way back down to fill that gap, the first one right here, 453. So the point I'm trying to make is the same pattern is occurring. Let me show you in terms of the chart. It's the same exact pattern. So look right here. SPY has a gap up, and then here's another gap up. So you have two nice gap ups. You have a massive move up. It's an overreaction. It's extremely overextended for the short-term being. And then what does it do? It forms the micro price channel, where it's choppy and it goes back and forth, back and forth. And what does history tell us? History tells us if SPY is consistently failing to break out towards the all-time highs, and it keeps faking out. So for example, here's the first day of the micro price channel. It's consistently faking out, right? Here's the second day. It's forming lower highs. Here's the third day. It has a little new all-time high breakout, but it fails to turn into support, which is still bearish. A stock is not bullish if it breaks out. It's bullish if it can, once it pulls back, turn that previous resistance level into support, which is something SPY failed to do. Therefore, if it's consistently faking out, it is going to get crushed and it is going to start to fill the gaps below. There's a gap to fill below right here at an average cost of $470.70, right? You can see there's so many gaps. There's a gap here, there's a gap here, there's a gap here, there's 3 gaps to fill, right? So I saw this, clearly ahead of the crowd. I saw this days ago of this clear price channel occurring where history is repeating itself. You have so many micro failed breakouts, so many fake outs. So what you need to understand is in terms of the macro side of the move, like I told you guys in yesterday's video, the bears are in complete control right here. Once $475.75 cracks and turns it into a resistance level. So basically, once you see this happen, where it cracks this key support level, and then it's going to bounce at some point, if the high of that bounce is at that previous support level, or if it's forming lower highs, it's reacting as a resistance level, that is when the bears take control of the macro, and that's when things get ugly, and that's when SPY has that nice sell-off to start to fill this gap right here. So that's the play, guys. It's a clear price channel, and the bulls have struggled for 3 days straight to break above that price channel and turn it into support. And the bears are showing true signs of strength that they are preparing to take control for the macro side of the move. Now, personally, I'm expecting the macro side of the move to really occur into, next week. But futures are currently down, and look at this, guys. Look at this confirmation. Remember that key level I told you, 575.76? Look at this. It cracks right through, bounces back up, and people get excited. They're like, oh wow, it's bouncing. And I'm like, that's bearish. It's confirming it has to bounce at some point, right? It's confirming that your previous key level, your previous micro low channel price level is now a resistance level, which is very, very bearish. And it's also down in futures. It's also, the futures are also down as well. So with that being said, guys, this is like, look at this chart. Once this support level cracks right here, look, there's really no support. It's just a straight line up, right? So your next support level is all the way down here, like towards 473, towards 472, right? So you got some big downside coming, in my opinion, if not tomorrow, heading into next week. So obviously the best price to get in is where, I got in terms of today, towards like 478.50. That'd be your best, price level right here towards 10:39 a.m. is exactly where I got in on that trade right here. Literally 10:39 a.m. is where I sent that alert, which is right here, basically towards the highs. Once I saw that double top and bearish confirmation at the high of day, I had to pull the trigger. It was an obvious fake out. With that being said, though, shit's going to hit the fan once we get that confirmation, and we're already getting it. Once this 475.75 turns into resistance, it's going to be heading towards 472, and then there's a gap to fill at 477. So that's the play on that, and that's where I'm looking to lock in profits. If that occurs, I'll easily be up 100% profit return. In terms of the put options that I went with, guys, write this down. When you're swing trading, always give yourself more time than you plan to. Very, very important. So in terms of the put options that I went with the 477 strike, played it safe, stayed, slightly out of the money. With that being said, what is the delta on these? Let's see. Delta's right here, and the 477 strike, 60 cents. And tomorrow the delta will probably be 70 cents. So basically, in terms of those contracts, every time SPY drops $1 from that point, these contracts will go up another 70 cents. So if SPY can drop like 2 points tomorrow, those contracts will be worth almost $5. So yeah, that's the analysis. That's my price action on SPY. If you didn't get in and you want to get in, I really don't recommend chasing. The only real trade that I would recommend is like resistance, 478.50. Focus on resistance. That's what I would recommend. Like I had stated in yesterday's video towards the top of the channel. If you did want to play the key breakdown, don't really recommend it. But if you did want to do that, 475.75, you see it react as resistance, get in, use a tight stop. It's just you're very likely to get stopped out. I'm really not expecting this to like occur in terms of tomorrow. It's more of next week is where I'm really looking to get out. But we'll see. Maybe Christmas came early. Christmas can still come, guys. Like everybody's hoping for this Santa rally. I'm like, just buy the fucking put options, and then there's your Christmas, right? There's your Christmas rally, right? So with that being said, let's get into my explosive play. Okay, so we are 9 minutes into this video. So I got to wrap this up quick here. mRNA. So with that being said, guys, here's what I'm seeing on Moderna stock. I think tomorrow's going to be the day where we start to break out. So here's what I'm looking at. I want to show you this pattern, right? So focus on the support and focus on the key breakout levels. So your support is right here towards 230s, and then focus on this pattern that I'm going to show you real quick. So look at this bullish candlestick, this nice bullish hammer pin right here, right? Look at what Moderna does when it forms this candle towards key support, right? Here's the same similar candlestick like right here, right? So it bombs out this key support level. It starts to curl up. It slowly curls up, and then it just ramps up. It starts to bottom at this support level. It starts to curl up. It slowly curls up, and then it just ramps up. I think history's starting to repeat itself. I think this is the beginning of that slow curl up. And then in terms of when did the bulls take control, when does this really start to run? I'll tell you right here. Once we can get the breakout at 254, our next level, so let me show you here on the chart. Once we get the breakout above 254, that is a major resistance level with big downside potential. Once we get that breakout, our next level is going to be 270, 257.60, which is a key level. Once we go above 257.60 and turn that into support, that's where we get that nice push up, that nice move up into 267 to 270. So my target on this for next week is like 267 to 270. With that being said, it just looks like we're really preparing. We have this second green day here. It looks like we're getting ready for liftoff. That's what it looks like. It looks like we're starting to curl up. So in terms of tomorrow, and what I've noticed with Moderna is it's best to buy the dip instead of the breakout. So the play is to simply buy this tomorrow at market open and just buy the dip. So I'm looking for a little gap down. I'm looking for a dip instead of the breakout this time. And I'm looking to buy literally towards market open. Where will my stop loss be? The stop loss, the max risk on this will be like 240, like 245 to 243. The price target for tomorrow, if we can get that breakout above 254, I'm thinking 257. And then if 257 breaks out, that's where we really start to run. So I just want you to understand tomorrow should be a decent green day in terms of like the really nice move. That's most likely going to be into next week. So in terms of the call options, the ones that I'm thinking of playing the January 7th. I think that'll be enough time if you want to play it safer than January 14th. And for those, I'm looking at the 255 to 257.5 strike. Most likely going to go with the 255 strike. So that's the thoughts. That's the play, guys. It just looks like Moderna is really trying to ramp up. We got to see how it reacts, and do not get stuck holding a bag, because that's a key resistance level with nice downside potential. It's just looking at the candlesticks right now, though, it really looks like it's due for a breakout. It's forming higher support, and it's just a matter of time where this stock really runs. So I think we're setting up for a nice swing trade. So those are the plays, guys. And congratulations for those of you who are in on those SPY puts, guys. It really does look like they're going to do well. I'm not perfect. I didn't trade it 100% perfect. In terms of SPY, I did end up taking a loss recently. In terms of today, I cut a loss on SPY. I ended up, breaking some rules, getting in a little bit too early. I didn't get in at my key entry. I got in before because I was simply impatient, and I was just watching the chart all day, and I got bored, and I wanted to make the trade, right? So make sure you set price alerts, make sure you trade the key levels. But I made sure that I sized in, much bigger to easily recoup the losses, and I made sure that I got the best entry on this trade. So I came back very, very strong on this, and it should do well, right? So win rate honestly doesn't matter, especially like with options. If you do a good job of, managing your capital, managing your risk, and then cutting percentage losses quickly, and then looking to scale in and size in a little bit bigger on the next one when you're extremely confident and you're doing things right. But with that being said, guys, we are on track to finish strong. Let's finish this year strong with Moderna, with the SPY puts. Let's finish this strong. I mean, look at this chart. It's just sitting here, forming these bearish candlesticks, just waiting to get crushed, waiting to fill this gap at 471. That's where I think we're at. I mean, just look at what SPY does when it just sits at the all-time highs. It's just sitting at the all-time highs, forming these bearish candles. It gets crushed. Sitting at the all-time highs, forming these bearish candles. It gets crushed. Sitting at the all-time highs, forming these bearish candles. Gets crushed. Sitting at the all-time highs, forming these bearish candles. Gets crushed, right? So it's just a matter of time. This is just such an overreaction. And we've just seen so many micro fake outs that it's just bound to pull back and start to fill the gaps. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on it. They should do very, very well. And just know it's extremely hard to make money in terms of buy put options. And I managed to do it very, very well this year. My win rate on SPY in terms of getting puts is currently a little bit above 80%. But with that being said, guys, I'll keep you in the loop. And if you do want to, trade with us live tomorrow, we trade live every single day at Market Open. It's going to be the first link down below in the description where you can join Traders Society. You get to watch me trade live. You get access to the video lesson library. You get to learn all of the trading strategies, risk management, psychology, the entire trading system. There's so much to learn within the program. Members are loving the education suite. You also get access to all my real-time trade alerts and the chat room, and there's a lot more to it. So if you do want to contact me also on a one-on-one basis, that would be the only way to do it. There's no other way to send me a direct message. The students are the top #1 priority. That's what we do differently. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to close out this video lesson. If you do want to be a part of Trader Society, it's the first link down below in the description. I will see you guys tomorrow live at Market Open.